What is up, Wire Gang? It's your boy coming at you with another reaction. And today, y'all, we are checking out a animated horror short story called The Worm by Don't Walk Home Alone in the Dark. Now, those of you who don't know, I am a huge horror movie buff. It was a staple in my home growing up. I grew up on Nightmare on Elm Street, Tales from the Hood, Tales from the Crypt, Friday the 13th, Jason, Child's Play, all of that. That was a quintessential part of my childhood. So I love anything horror, movies, shows, series related. And I saw this series and I figured I'd check it out with y'all. So I'm excited for this. I don't know anything about this. This is the first video I've done of this this channel. So I don't know what to expect, but I'm here for it. So that's enough talking. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Love the music. I love how it starts with the music. Like, I feel like people underestimate how good, like, just the right song at the right moment is in a horror movie. Like, it could be a song that in any other context would not be creepy, but you put it in a horror movie and it just gives it that that push over the edge. Like, for example, in Us by Jordan Peele, that song 5 on it made very creepy in that movie. Any other times, just a regular song. The weird song from Insidious, the Tiptoe Through the Tulips, played during that horrifying scene where they're in the monster's lair in the dream. In that song's a goofy song, normally kind of creepy, but when put into movies and in the right scenarios, it makes it super creepy, and I love that element of it. Love this animation style too. Reminds me of Steven Universe.
Hello?
So it's at that point where you just go in the house and lock the door, right? That's what any sane person would do. Go in your house, lock the door, if you got a gun, get a gun, and just wait. Don't go investigate the creepy noise. Never go investigate the creepy noise. What I tell you? Oh, hell no. Yeah, you see, that's what I'm saying. You should have just went in the house. At least if you die, you don't die scared as hell. It's gonna get you, but I'd rather go oblivious to it than to see that and then it get me.
Sparrow Moon was not at all what I thought she would be. I wasn't given much time to go over her case file before our first appointment, but from what I had read, I half expected some kind of uncontrollable monster to walk through the door. She wasn't anything like that. She was quiet and guarded, smaller in person than what I had imagined from her photograph. A perfectly normal 17-year-old girl. That made it even harder to believe she was capable of doing the things that she did. She was the last surviving member of the so-called Woodfield Five.
I've never seen this animation style for like a horror short. I've never really watched many like animated horror shorts. This animation style, I feel like it kind of gives you a false sense of security because it makes it seem like it can't be that scary if it's gonna be animated like this. But I feel like later on that's gonna work in its favor.
Woodfield Five, a group of kids all from the same remote northern town who suffered a series of unexplained, at times violent, mental breaks. Clinical notes suggested some kind of shared psychosis, though unlike anything I'd ever heard of in my 20-year practice. By all accounts, Sparrow had an unremarkable childhood. No indications of behavioral difficulty, good grades in school, active social life, no family history of mental illness to speak of. Her mother had been part of some offbeat spiritual commune years earlier, but had left that behind when Sparrow was quite young and eventually remarried. There was nothing to suggest any kind of underlying trauma or abuse, though as you come to find in my line of work, that's not always so obvious. The only path to understanding what really happened in Woodfield was Sparrow herself, and that would prove more difficult than anyone anticipated. I learned very little over the first weeks of our sessions together. Sparrow was often uncooperative, careful never to allow the growing familiarity between us to weaken her resolve.
Is he like I can't tell if he's a guidance counselor or a therapist or like an investigator? Like he said in his line of work, like it doesn't, but he didn't say what it was exactly. He looks like a gym teacher, but I can't tell exactly what his job is.
I was not as strong. I became unreasonably attached to her. The endless medical diagnostics revealed nothing we didn't already know. She barely slept. The scratches on her arms were self-inflicted. And aside from high blood pressure, she was physically healthy. No one was certain about what exactly was wrong with her. And she was getting worse. The weeks turned to months, and I was running out of time. The courts had determined that unless I could demonstrate conclusive progress in her treatment, Sparrow would be transferred to an isolated psychiatric ward and out of my care. I could have walked away at that point. I probably should have.
I love this. I love like that gritty, like 1950s, like noir detective thing that he's doing, like while he's narrating and looking out the window. I love that.
But what I wanted, what I've always wanted, was answers. After all that we'd been through, she wasn't a kid to me anymore. She wasn't a monster either. She was a puzzle to solve. Sodium pentothal can be administered to induce something called narcosynthesis, a state between asleep and awake where the subject is highly suggestible. In most places today, the practice is frowned upon. Normally, I would never consider such a treatment, but given the circumstances, my options were limited. I knew full well that this could risk professional censure, perhaps even my career itself. That didn't seem to matter at the time. After the injections, Sparrow was brought to my office. We were left alone, and I asked her to count backwards from 10. though before she even got to 5, it was clear she knew something was wrong. Her breathing became shallow, and her eyes darted around rapidly. She began talking about a mist coming into the room that only she could see. She could hear a voice from within it calling to her. The drug had disoriented her to such a degree that I don't even think she recognized me.
I expected her to like look up and see him as like be like a giant monster or something, like sitting across from her. Is this me? I expected something right there, like some kind of jump scare. Like I'm waiting on like the horror elements of this to pick up, but it's holding my attention so far. So
Sparrow's small size and chronic fatigue made the dosage I administered tricky. She drifted in and out for several minutes. When lucid, I redirected her, asking if she could tell me what the voice she heard was saying. After a long pause, she finally whispered, "Little bird." At that point, Sparrow was not interested in answering any of my questions. She just spoke, and I listened. She said that it knew. It knew that was what he used to call her. The old man. But the voice wasn't a man's. It was something else. She said it comes with the mist, that it takes things from you and it grows, adding to what it's taken from others. It eats you from the inside. She didn't know its name, but called it the worm.
So is it a tapeworm or like a? I'm confused. I don't know exactly what it is, because like we saw it looked like a big shadowy monster, but the way she's talking about it is more like it's some kind of ghostly thing, like that like possesses you. So yeah, I don't know what this thing is, but I'm intrigued.
As Sparrow lapsed into unconsciousness, I was left with more questions than answers. I arranged to have her return to her room and resigned myself to the idea that I might never get the chance to understand the truth. That I had failed. I destroyed the records of our last session to prevent the review board from finding out what I had done. It was over. Or at least, that's what I thought. It was that night the dream started.
Yeah, I don't think I'd go into the random door in the middle of a field. I mean, dream or no dream, I don't, that's never a good idea. Oh no. Shh. No.
Wait, come back!
Oh, I don't know if I've ever mentioned, but like just being in a body of water with nothing in sight is my greatest fear. That more than anything else I've seen has made me uneasy. Just like seeing him just in the water with no land, it's terrifying. Whatever the worm is, not more terrifying than that.
Sparrow. What?
Doctor, I'm so
Firstly, terrifying. Secondly, why did it look like it yanked him up by the pelvis? Why, like, from here, it looked like it just, yanked him up from his midsection?
Every time I go to sleep, it's the same. It doesn't really matter how the dream begins. Eventually, the mist will come. And with the mist, always comes the worm. Just like she said it would. You can't run. That never works. It won't let you. The best you can hope for is that you wake up quick, before it begins to feed. At first, I told myself that it would go away. It could be a simple anxiety-induced aberration brought on by the stress of dealing with the case. But it was soon obvious that wasn't it. The nightmares didn't stop. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. It wasn't long before my colleagues began to take notice. Things got so bad I had no other choice. I called in every favor, pulled every string I could, and arranged access to Sparrow at her current facility. I needed answers more than ever. And she still had them. I almost didn't recognize her at first. She looked strong and alert. A stark contrast to the tired girl that I had spent all that time with.
So how much time has passed at this point? Because, like, she looks older and he looks... I can't tell if he's just older or if he's just, like, worn out from the dreams and the fucked up shit he's dealing with. So I can't tell how much... This looks like it's been a while.
I didn't have to ask any questions this time. Just by looking at me, she knew all too well what was happening. We sat down, and Sparrow Moon gave me what I needed. The worm is some kind of parasite. A pathogen, an ancient thing passed from host to host, manifesting in their dreams, feeding on their deepest fears. It will not stop, always hungry for more. It won't kill you. It doesn't want you dead. It wants what any good virus wants. To propagate. To be passed on. To be fed. Sparrow tried to hold it inside of her, to protect others. She thought that if she could fight it long enough, it would die with her. But she passed the worm to me the same way that it had been passed to her. Just by telling me about it. You have to believe me. I am sorry for this. Now that I've told you, I don't know when, but sooner or later in your dreams, the mist will come. And with the mist, always comes the worm.
That was awesome. I love that. Great ending. Pray to God it's not real, obviously, because for our apparent reasons. But yeah, I love that. I love when stories have like a little twist ending like that. Not like super terrifying all the way through, but like a nice, like thrilling story with a great wrap up at the end. Again, hope it's not real, because if I got it, y'all got it too. We got it together. We all got the worm. So yeah. But I love that. I loved every second of that. Definitely would love to check out more of this. But that's just what I think, y'all. Let me know how y'all feel about it down in the comments. If y'all want to see more stories like this, please recommend them. Please let me know what y'all think about this new format of video that I'm working on. Make sure y'all hit that sub button, because, you know, we got to keep this channel growing. Got to keep this going. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see ya.